Senator M.I.A. Thompson was a well-respected figure in politics, renowned for her passionate advocacy for social justice, equality, and civil rights. Growing up in a diverse neighborhood, M.I.A. had witnessed firsthand the struggles of marginalized communities, and she dedicated her life to making a difference. Her journey to the Senate was filled with challenges, but her unwavering commitment to her principles propelled her forward. One sunny afternoon, M.I.A. was scheduled to board a flight to attend an important conference aimed at addressing systemic racism and inequality across the nation. As she entered the bustling airport, she felt a mix of excitement and nerves. This conference was an opportunity to amplify the voices of those who had long been silenced, and she was determined to represent their concerns with dignity and resolve. Upon arriving at the gate, M.I.A. noticed a crowded waiting area filled with travelers of all backgrounds, each with their own stories and aspirations. As she prepared to board, she exchanged pleasantries with fellow passengers, displaying the warmth and approachability that had endeared her to many constituents. Once on the plane, she settled into her first-class seat, taking a moment to gather her thoughts. The cabin was filled with a sense of anticipation, with the hum of conversation and the sounds of flight attendants preparing for takeoff. M.I.A. glanced out the window, admiring the view of the runway as she mentally reviewed her speech for the conference. She hoped her words would resonate and inspire action. However, her moment of tranquility was soon interrupted when a flight attendant approached her. The woman, tall and slender with a stern expression, looked down at M.I.A. with an unsettling intensity. "Excuse me," she said, her tone sharp and unyielding. "Can I see your boarding pass?" M.I.A. furrowed her brow, surprised by the abruptness of the request. "Of course," she replied, handing over her boarding pass. As the attendant scrutinized the pass, M.I.A. felt a wave of unease wash over her. There was something in the attendant's demeanor that hinted at judgment. The attendant continued to study the boarding pass, her eyes narrowing as she looked back at M.I.A. "I'm surprised you're on this flight," she said, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "I thought they were only letting the high rollers fly first class." A hush fell over the cabin, and M.I.A. felt a rush of indignation. Passengers turned their heads, sensing the tension in the air. The flight attendant's comment was not only disrespectful but also laden with prejudice. It was a moment that could not be ignored, and M.I.A. knew she had to respond. Remaining calm, M.I.A. met the attendant's gaze. "Everyone deserves respect, regardless of their background," she said firmly. "This is not a place for judgment based on appearances." Her voice was steady, but inside, her heart raced. The atmosphere shifted as other passengers began to murmur in agreement. "That's right," a man called from the back of the cabin. "We're all equal here." Encouraged by the support, M.I.A. continued, "We should be celebrating our differences, not using them as a reason for division. This flight is about unity." The flight attendant's face flushed, and for a moment, she looked taken aback by the unexpected backlash. The cabin was filled with murmurs of support, and M.I.A. felt the collective energy of her fellow passengers rallying around her. The flight attendant opened her mouth, seemingly at a loss for words. "Let's use this moment to reflect on how we treat each other every day," M.I.A. added, her voice growing stronger. "We have a responsibility to foster kindness and understanding, especially in spaces like this." The applause that erupted from the passengers was deafening. It echoed in the confined space of the cabin, transforming what had begun as an uncomfortable encounter into a powerful statement. The flight attendant, now visibly uncomfortable, retreated but not before murmuring an apology. M.I.A. accepted it gracefully but made it clear that this incident should serve as a lesson. As the plane took off, M.I.A. reflected on the incident. She had faced discrimination and prejudice before, but this was different. It was a reminder that even in her position of power, she could be targeted simply because of who she was. But she also realized that her platform as a senator gave her the ability to challenge such behavior and raise awareness about the issues that affected countless individuals. The flight continued smoothly, with conversations buzzing around the cabin. M.I.A. engaged with passengers who expressed their support and shared their own stories of discrimination. A young woman sitting next to her spoke about her experiences in the workplace, where she often felt overlooked and marginalized. Another man recounted a time when he had been treated unfairly because of his ethnicity. Their stories resonated deeply with MIA, and she listened intently, grateful for their willingness to share. When the plane landed, the incident had sparked meaningful discussions among the passengers. Mia's courageous stand against racism had not only empowered others to speak up, but also created a sense of camaraderie in the cabin. As they disembarked, several passengers approached MIA, expressing their admiration for her bravery. "Thank you for standing up for what's right," one older woman said, her eyes glistening with tears. "We need more leaders like you who aren't afraid to challenge discrimination." MIA smiled warmly, touched by the sentiment. "Thank you for your support. It's important that we all speak out against injustice, no matter where we are." As she navigated through the airport terminal, her phone buzzed with notifications. News outlets had picked up the story of the encounter on the flight, framing it as a powerful statement against racism in everyday situations. Social media platforms were flooded with posts praising MIA for her courage and condemning the flight attendant's behavior. In the days that followed, MIA received an outpouring of support from her constituents and beyond. Her actions had sparked conversations about racial discrimination and the need for change, proving that one person's courage could inspire many. During her speech at the conference, MIA referenced the incident, using it as a powerful example of why standing up against prejudice was essential in every aspect of life. "It is our duty to challenge bias wherever it appears," she declared, her voice steady and passionate. "Together, we can build a future where everyone is treated with dignity." The incident became a turning point, not just for MIA, but for many who felt inspired to speak out against discrimination. The media coverage amplified her message, encouraging others to share their own stories of standing up against prejudice. 1 week after the flight, MIA held a press conference to address the issue further. As she stood at the podium, surrounded by reporters, she reflected on the journey that had brought her to this moment. "We cannot ignore the fact that racism and discrimination persist in our society," she began. "It's not just in the grand gestures of politics. It's in the everyday interactions we have. We must commit ourselves to fostering a culture of understanding and acceptance." The room was filled with journalists eager to hear her insights. "Senator Thompson, what do you think can be done to prevent such incidents from happening in the future?" one reporter asked. MIA took a deep breath, ready to address the question. "It starts with education," she replied. "We need to ensure that our educational institutions teach empathy and respect for all individuals. Additionally, training programs in workplaces and public services must emphasize diversity and inclusion." Another reporter interjected, "What do you believe the role of lawmakers is in combating racism?" "Our role is to listen and act," MIA emphasized. "We must enact policies that protect marginalized communities and create spaces where everyone feels safe and valued. It's our responsibility to legislate against discrimination and support initiatives that empower those who have been silenced." As the press conference continued, MIA felt a renewed sense of purpose. She was committed to making a difference, not just through her words but through her actions. The flight incident had shown her that she could leverage her platform to inspire change, and she was determined to do just that. In the weeks following the conference, MIA initiated a series of town hall meetings across her state, focusing on racial equality and community engagement. She wanted to hear directly from her constituents about their experiences and the challenges they faced. Each meeting was an opportunity for open dialogue, where individuals could share their stories and discuss potential solutions. During one particularly impactful meeting in a small town, MIA met a group of young activists who had organized a campaign to raise awareness about racial injustice. Their passion was palpable, and MIA was inspired by their dedication. She invited them to collaborate on future initiatives, recognizing that the voices of young people were crucial in the fight for equality. As the months passed, MIA continued to advocate for legislation aimed at addressing systemic racism. She worked tirelessly to rally support for bills that aimed to improve access to education, healthcare, and economic opportunities for marginalized communities. Each step forward felt like a victory, but MIA knew that the journey was far from over. Amid her advocacy work, MIA also reflected on the personal impact of the flight incident. It had reminded her of the importance of standing up for what is right, even when it feels uncomfortable. She made a point to reach out to the flight attendant, hoping to have a conversation about the incident. To her surprise, the attendant agreed to meet. When they sat down together, MIA approached the discussion with empathy. "I believe we can learn from this experience," she began. "I'd like to understand your perspective and share mine as well." The flight attendant, whose name was Lisa, appeared apprehensive but willing to engage. "I didn't mean to offend you," she said, her voice tinged with regret. "I realize now that my comments were inappropriate. I've been grappling with my own biases, and I see how they affected my behavior." MIA nodded, appreciating Lisa's honesty. "It's important that we recognize how our words can impact others," she replied. "This is an opportunity for growth, for both of us." Their conversation unfolded organically, touching on the complexities of race, privilege, and the importance of understanding one another. As they spoke, MIA saw the potential for change in Lisa. "We all have biases," she said. "What matters is how we choose to confront them." In the weeks that followed, MIA and Lisa stayed in touch, engaging in ongoing dialogue about their experiences. They even collaborated on a community event aimed at promoting inclusivity and understanding, demonstrating that change can happen through open conversations. As Mia's advocacy work continued to gain momentum, she found herself invited to speak at various national forums. Each time she shared her story, it resonated with audiences, inspiring countless individuals to reflect on their own experiences with discrimination. At one national rally, MIA took to the stage, her heart pounding with anticipation. "Today, we stand united against racism," she declared, her voice strong and unwavering. "Each of us has a role to play in creating a more just society. Together, we can dismantle the systems that perpetuate inequality." The crowd erupted in applause, their energy electrifying the atmosphere. MIA felt a surge of hope and determination as she looked out at the diverse faces in the audience. This was a movement fueled by compassion, understanding, and the shared belief that change was possible. In the months that followed, MIA continued to build alliances with grassroots organizations, collaborating on initiatives that aimed to address racial disparities in various sectors. She became a mentor to young activists, empowering them to use their voices and influence for positive change. One evening, as she sat in her office reviewing proposals for upcoming projects, MIA received a message from a local school district. They wanted her to speak at their diversity and inclusion training program. Excited about the opportunity, MIA prepared her remarks, eager to share her journey with the next generation. On the day of the event, the auditorium was packed with educators and students, all eager to learn about the importance of embracing diversity. As MIA stood before them, she recalled her experiences on the flight and the lessons she had learned about resilience and advocacy. "Each of you has the power to create a more inclusive environment," she told the audience. "It starts with listening and learning from one another. Our differences are what make us strong." As she wrapped up her speech, MIA felt a sense of fulfillment. The journey had been challenging, but every step had reinforced a belief in the power of compassion and unity. She knew that change wouldn't happen overnight, but she was committed to being part of the solution. In the years that followed, Mia's work continued to inspire others, creating a ripple effect that extended far beyond her initial encounter on the plane. Her advocacy for racial equality became a cornerstone of her political career, and she remained dedicated to uplifting marginalized voices. One day, as she reflected on her journey, MIA received a letter from Lisa, the flight attendant who had sparked it all. In the letter, Lisa expressed her gratitude for the opportunity to learn and grow from their conversations. "You've changed my perspective," she wrote. "I'm committed to doing better and advocating for others." MIA smiled as she read the letter, feeling a sense of pride in the progress they had made together. This was the power of connection and understanding, a reminder that even in moments of conflict, there was potential for growth and healing. As the sun set over the capital, MIA looked out at the horizon, filled with hope for the future. She knew that the fight for equality would continue, but she was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. With each passing day, she remained committed to her mission, knowing that together they could create a world where every individual was treated with dignity and respect. The momentum MIA had built began to attract the attention of national organizations advocating for racial equality. They sought her partnership in initiatives that aligned with her mission, and MIA eagerly accepted the opportunity to work alongside them. Each collaboration brought new insights and resources to the table, amplifying the impact of their efforts. During a particularly significant initiative, MIA and her partners organized a nationwide campaign focused on voting rights. They aimed to raise awareness about the systemic barriers that marginalized communities face when accessing the polls. MIA traveled across the country, speaking at rallies and community events, sharing stories of individuals who had been disenfranchised. Voting is our most powerful tool for change, she emphasized during one rally. We cannot allow anyone to be silenced in our democracy. It's time to fight for every voice to be heard. The campaign gained traction, mobilizing communities to take action. Voter registration drives were held in underserved neighborhoods, ensuring that everyone had the opportunity to participate in the electoral process. Mia's efforts were met with enthusiasm, as people began to recognize the importance of their voices in shaping the future. Amid the success, MIA encountered resistance from those who sought to maintain the status quo. She faced criticism from political opponents who questioned her methods and motives. But instead of being discouraged, MIA used the backlash as fuel to drive her forward. She knew that meaningful change often faced opposition, and she was prepared to meet it head-on. As the election season approached, Mia's advocacy reached a crescendo. She organized town hall meetings to educate voters about the issues at stake and the importance of their participation. Each event was a powerful reminder that collective action could lead to meaningful change. On Election Day, MIA stood alongside her supporters, witnessing the lines of voters stretching around the block. The energy was palpable, and MIA felt a deep sense of pride knowing that she had played a part in mobilizing these voices. As the results began to come in, it was clear that the campaign had made a significant impact. That night, as MIA celebrated the victories of her allies and fellow advocates, she took a moment to reflect on her journey. The challenges she had faced, both on that fateful flight and in her political career, had shaped her into the leader she had become. The fight for equality was far from over, but with every step forward, MIA knew they were creating a legacy of hope and change. In the years to come, MIA continued her work with renewed vigor. The flight attendant who had once challenged her became a close ally, and together they traveled the country, sharing their story and advocating for change. Their partnership was a testament to the idea that understanding and compassion could bridge even the widest divides. Mia's journey had begun with a single moment of confrontation, but it had blossomed into a powerful movement that transcended her own experiences. With each passing day, she remained dedicated to the cause, knowing that together, they could create a future where every individual was treated with respect, dignity, and equality.